We went to the grocery store, came back, so I go to the trunk to get the groceries or whatever, and I find men's boxers in the trunk. Now, I know for sure these aren't mine.
3 now. He don't even look like me now.
You don't feel like he looks like you at all?
And it's crazy, he can't even speak for himself. First of all, you are 27 years old.
I mean,
you have a problem or we have anything, and worry about your kids. Because at the end of the day.
So I pull up behind her once she comes out and get to the car. Who else is this? Who else was you just at? He say some girl name. Show me who you talking about. She's like, no. So I say, I'll go get her myself then. So she gets in the car real fast, turn around, skirt off.
Ms. Sanchez is laying it all out there, declaring that today's DNA results are make or break for her future. She's in a spiritual union with Mr. Turman, but get this, he won't make it legal because he's not convinced he's the dad of her 8-month-old munchkin. She's desperate for these results to salvage what they've got. You'll want to see how Mr. Turman handles this curveball.
Say today's DNA results mean everything. Spiritually married to the defendant claim his denial that he fathered your 8-month-old son has stopped him from legal marrying. You need paternity proof to save this relationship. You doubt you are Jordan's father and say your marriage is not a real legal marriage, and it won't be unless Ms. Sanchez. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
How intense was that? The sticky issue of paternity is literally freezing their legal marriage in time. Mr. Turman's caught in a weird limbo, not just legally, but emotionally too, which messes with their family dynamics big time. They're stuck at a crossroads, not knowing which way to turn. The emotional roller coaster is just getting going.
I'm here because, like she said, we got married. I couldn't go through with it. There's too many trust issues. I feel like if you don't have trust, you can't go forward with the relationship.
So this paternity question, literally your legal marriage on hold.
Yeah.
You refuse to move forward, and you're basically living in not just legal limbo.
Both parents to grow up in a functional household.
Could you cut the tension with a knife or what? Mr. Turman dives into the tale of how they first met on Tinder, which quickly escalated to a whirlwind night of passion. This rapid-fire intimacy kick-started a whole saga of trust issues. Next up, an unexpected twist that turns everything upside down.
We met on Tinder, and I'm swiping, and I came across her profile, and I super like is when it goes directly to them, so they know first night, because she was with somebody else she met from Tinder. So the second night is when we actually hung out. We had some drinks, one thing led to another, and we had sex the first night.
That revelation just dropped like a bomb, didn't it? Picture this. Mr. Turman stumbles upon men's boxers in the trunk during a casual grocery run. Talk about awkward. Ms. Sanchez claims they're just a mix-up from doing laundry at a relative's place. If you thought that was a hoot, just wait until you hear what they find next.
We went to the grocery store, came back, so I go to the trunk to get the groceries or whatever, and I find men's boxers in the trunk. Now, I know for sure these aren't mine.
What? How did these men's boxer shorts get in your trunk?
Oh, I had done laundry at my family member's house. I have male family members because there was more than just one thing of boxers.
What a game changer that was. They crunched the numbers and boom, the conception dates line up suspiciously well with Mr. Turman's timeline of distrust. His fears are getting all the more real, affecting even the simple joys of family life. Brace yourself, because what happens next is a real doozy.
Doing all those things, a lot of the arguments that we have, so it just causes a lot of fights between us, and it causes us not to be able to move forward. I was going to go out with my friend. She didn't want me to. I went out anyways. Well, you don't need to come to the hospital because he's not yours. We're good.
What?
Yeah, she's like, we're good. We don't need you. Don't come to the hospital. He's not yours.
Here comes the big reveal. Strap in. The DNA results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Turman, you are the father.
Can you believe the drama that's about to unfold in this courtroom? Ms. Pringle opens a paternity case against Mr. Brown, asserting that he denies fathering her 18-month-old daughter, Tatiana. She lays it all out, describing his neglectful behavior towards their daughter, as if he's auditioning for the role of the invisible man since her birth. This is only the tip of the iceberg, though, so keep your eyes peeled for what comes next.
Ms. Pringle, you open this case against Mr. Brown. You say he denies fathering your 18-month-old daughter, Tatiana. You state he has acted like she doesn't exist since the day she was born. You want Mr. Brown to step up after today's result, prove he is the father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Get ready for a roller coaster of emotions. Ms. Pringle becomes visibly emotional, discussing the pain of raising her daughter alone and describing how Mr. Brown's denial has left a void in their daughter's life. The courtroom is thick with tension and unspoken words, hinting at deeper stories yet to unfold. Hang tight, her next revelation is a doozy.
It hurts really bad that you're denying. She says daddy every day, but you're nowhere around. Nobody cares about me but my mother.
The reason why I feel like that because the time she was saying always a cheater.
So you feel traumatized?
Yes.
You might want to sit down for this one. Ms. Pringle admits to a past mistake of cheating via an encounter with someone from a dating site. Her confession attempts to clear the air about her infidelity, which Mr. Brown uses as his shield of denial. The plot thickens as we dive into their tumultuous relationship timeline.
I met someone on a dating site. That's what happened.
So it was just something casual?
I went to a free clinic and I took the test and they said that it was 4 weeks and 3 days.
Pregnant?
Yeah.
And then you called Mr. Brown?
Yes, and I told him I was pregnant. He was happy.
And you thought it couldn't get more tangled. The discussion turns to the pregnancy timeline, with Mr. Brown casting doubt over the conception timing relative to their rocky relationship status. His skepticism about paternity due to their on and off sexual encounters adds another layer of drama. Brace yourself. Mr. Brown's level of involvement is next on the docket.
You were only happy for 2 months?
We didn't have sex at the time, like the conceiving time that she got pregnant. It was broken up.
At the conception time, you didn't have sex then?
I don't know where he got his information from.
But after he confirmed you were cheating and you admitted to it, then you start getting phone calls where you got to leave the room. That doesn't feel too good.
You're not going to believe this next part. The judge probes into Mr. Brown's involvement during the pregnancy and Tatiana's birth, revealing his nearly non-existent participation. Despite his doubts, he signed the birth certificate out of a sense of obligation, a fleeting moment of responsibility in a sea of denial. But don't go anywhere. Scientific jargon incoming.
At all in any of the doctor's appointments and go?
Just one.
You didn't come to the birth?
No.
So I guess you didn't sign the birth certificate either.
I signed it because I felt like she needed a father, a feeling like she has a dad to depend on.
Did you have doubts when you did that?
Yes, but I felt kind of bad. A child to go through the same thing I went through.
As we dive into the nitty-gritty, both parties claim to have medical evidence supporting their cases. Ms. Pringle points to shared physical traits and conditions between Mr. Brown and Tatiana as clues to his paternity, while Mr. Brown counters with his own health trivia. The courtroom's about to turn into a biology class, so stay tuned.
Ms. Pringle, you say you have medical evidence that proves Mr. Brown's Tatiana's biological father. There is no way you can be Tatiana's biological father. That Mr. Brown is, in fact, her biological father?
Yes, Your Honor. Other family members in his family is lactose intolerant. I'm not. And because she has the same hairline as him.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more convoluted, Mr. Brown brings up his other children, all of whom supposedly share a medical condition with him, which Tatiana does not. This bombshell adds fuel to his fire of denial. But hold on, because the expert's about to school everyone on genetics.
Mr. Brown, I want to hear about your medical evidence. And I want it to be a little bit better than Ms. Pringle's.
Okay, my medical evidence, I have asthma.
Your other kid has asthma?
Yes.
How many other children you have? How many?
I would have had 8.
What? What do you mean you would have had 8? So Tatiana would be your 8th kid?
Yes.
And all your kids have asthma, but Tatiana doesn't?
Yes.
Enter the expert, ready to drop some knowledge bombs. Dr. Gator steps up to provide clear, scientific explanations about lactose intolerance and asthma, dissecting the medical arguments presented by both sides. The DNA results are on deck, and they're about to make a splash.
Ms. Pringle has presented in her case that she believed that Mr. Brown is her daughter's biological father. Mr. Brown is lactose intolerant, and her daughter is who are also lactose intolerant. How do you become lactose intolerant?
When you're lactose intolerant, your body doesn't produce an enzyme called lactase, and lactase is what breaks down the milk.
Here it comes, the big reveal. The dramatic conclusion unfolds as the DNA test results are read out loud.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are the father.
Strap in, folks. Ms. McKeever kicks things off with absolute certainty that Mr. Arnold is the biological father of her 3-year-old son, Kenneth. She's not just throwing shade, she's thrown the whole patio set by requesting a paternity test and suing Mr. Arnold for a cool $1,096 in childcare expenses. Buckle up, because the drama train is just leaving the station.
Ms. McKeever, you say you have no doubt that Mr. Arnold, your 3-year-old son, Kenneth's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
And are suing Mr. Arnold for $1,796 in child care expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold your horses. Here comes the receipts. Ms. McKeever whips out a list of expenses for Kenneth's care, which includes every diaper, shoe, and piece of clothing, adding up to the disputed amount. Mr. Arnold counters by sticking to his guns about his non-paternity stance. You won't want to miss what the judge has to say next. It's a doozy.
So, Ms. McKeever, he says he's on support. What does he actually do for your son?
Actually, he has not done anything for my son. Been playing a big role in my son life, far as buying him diapers, if I need money to get my kids clothes.
But you've never gotten anything?
I never got any.
Not a dime yet. And so you're suing for child care expenses you've incurred thus far?
Yes.
The judge isn't having any of it today. She dives deep into the consequences of Mr. Arnold skipping out on a DNA test, which by default made him the legal daddy. The legal snafu of this is the kind of stuff daytime TV dreams are made of. Fasten your seatbelts. The turbulence is real as we head into an even more tumultuous discussion.
Young men in your position, you come to court and you say, this is not my child, Your Honor. And then when I ask, did you have an opportunity to take a DNA test? We get a ride to go everywhere else we want to go. This is important because you see what happened. Once you didn't show, you're named by default. You should not be in the position you're in right now.
In a heartwarming twist, Ms. Cox, Ms. McKeever's sister, steps into the spotlight to discuss how she's been financially supporting Kenneth. It's all about family stepping up when the supposed father steps back. But keep your eyes peeled. The familial feud is about to get extra crunchy.
So you've been stepping up to the plate as it relates to Kenneth.
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Paying for expenses.
Haircut, shoes, clothes, milk. If she calls me, he have it.
She's responsible for paying you back this month.
And that is, yes.
Everything is not being said. There was another young man, his dad.
Who is this
now,
young man?
After 2 years, now my nephew is being blamed for these kids.
As we dive into the he said, she said of Ms. McKeever's love life, the details get juicier. She lays out the timeline of her relationships with Mr. Arnold and another mystery man, crucial for pinpointing when Kenneth was conceived. This soap opera-worthy reveal sets the stage for some major emotional fireworks. Grab your popcorn. This emotional roller coaster is just getting started.
The whole time that he was living with me, Your Honor, unprotected. Now, the other young man that I was messing with, December 26th, I end up going to the doctor because I get my 6-month checkup. The lady ended up telling me I was 6 weeks pregnant, was the other dude.
And you submitted a calendar to the court.
Yes.
Mr. Arnold, having sex with him unprotected, you said?
Yes.
The plot thickens, and the air in the courtroom could be cut with a knife. Ms. McKeever and Ms. Henderson throw accusations faster than a speeding bullet, confusing everyone about who knew what when. The suspense is building, and what comes next? You guessed it, more bombshells.
Ms. Henderson, what would you like to add? I just wanted to make sure I understood that on my calendar.
If her conception time was from December the 24th, that's 2 days. And then you decide that after this guy comes back, and you with him one time, but he the dad. Now 2 years later, look where we at. This don't make no sense.
Tear ducts on standby. Ms. McKeever brings the feels, talking about her son's queries about Mr. Arnold. Meanwhile, Mr. Arnold wavers between denial and a strange connection to Kenneth. The emotional stakes are sky high, and just wait till you see how this family drama unfolds next.
And when I said it to Mr. Arnold, he said I had a feeling that that's my child.
I didn't know it was another guy involved after she came back and showed me the paper.
He's lying on that part. The time that we was in a relationship, he knew about the other guy. So it's not like I just got with Mr. Arnold and didn't tell him about this other guy.
Things in the courtroom are heating up like a microwave meal. Quick, intense, and a bit messy. Ms. McKeever accuses Mr. Arnold of shirking his responsibilities, while his family insists he's not the dad. The climax of this courtroom saga is about to blow the roof off. Make sure you're ready for the explosive next chapter.
So you say he doesn't look like you.
He don't.
He's starting to look like you, and you said, yeah, I thought that was my son.
He don't.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
3 now. He don't even look like me now.
You don't feel like he looks like you at all.
First of all, you are 27 years old.
I mean,
you have a problem, or we have any, and worry about your kids. Because at the end of the day.
Just when you thought all cards were on the table, the judge lays down the final verdict. DNA results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Arnold, you are his father.
The courtroom buzzes with anticipation. Mr. Muriel and his sister step forward, petitioning the court for a DNA test to disprove his paternity of Ms. Redmond's 18-month-old son, Zadrian. Mr. Muriel firmly asserts he is not the dad, hoping to confirm this with a test ordered by the court. Ms. Redmond counters, insisting Mr. Muriel is the father, as he himself signed the birth certificate, and she argues that a paternity test is unnecessary. Grab your popcorn. The drama is just starting to unfold.
Court to order a DNA test to prove that you are not the father of the defendant's 18-month-old son, Zadrian. You have always believed you are not the father. Court grants you the test so you can prove your case. And you say you are tired of being a single mom and state there is no reason for a paternity test because the plaintiff already acknowledged he was the father by signing birth certificate.
You can almost feel the weight of the world on his shoulders. Mr. Muriel takes the stand, detailing how the paternity claim hampers his life and budding career as a young entrepreneur. He describes feeling cornered by the responsibilities associated with a child he believes isn't his. his. He vividly recounts the pressure to acknowledge paternity at the hospital under the watchful eyes of Ms. Redmond's family. Hold on tight, because there's more turbulence ahead.
I'm 22 years old. I'm looking to expand my brand. Putting a child on me is like stopping me from leaving.
And so you say that this young woman is putting a child on you. You signed the birth certificate.
Yes.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any more intense, during a fiery exchange, it's revealed that Mr. Muriel not only chose the middle name for the child, but also gave him his last name. This twist complicates his claim of non-paternity, as the judge points out the significant legal implications of his actions. Acknowledging he understood what it meant legally to be the father, Mr. Muriel's story digs deeper into the legal morass. Brace yourself, the next part is a doozy.
Zadrian Sherrard Morrell. You chose that name, not me.
You chose it.
You put his name in.
The child also has your last name.
Yeah.
And do you understand what being the legal father means?
Yeah.
So you now know that once you sign it under the law, you are that child's father.
Things are heating up. Mr. Muriel casts doubt on his paternity by bringing up Ms. Redmond's alleged infidelity, claiming he was miles away in another state when conception supposedly occurred. The judge, seeking more than just accusations, presses for solid evidence and a clear timeline to substantiate his denial of paternity. Just when you think you've seen it all, the courtroom throws another curveball.
Yes, and I believe she was with other
Okay,
people.
you say you weren't even there. Give me the facts surrounding that.
I weren't there. I was here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Zadrian's date of birth is what?
September 15th.
I got the year and the date mixed up, okay?
Yeah,
Why does your
it's
brother
okay.
know my son's birthday if that's not his baby?
You're not going to believe this one. Mr. Muriel recounts a suspicious incident where he followed Ms. Redmond to a questionable neighborhood and confronted a man who emerged from a house she had entered. This confrontation fuels his doubts about his paternity even further, presenting a plot twist that feels straight out of a soap opera. Fasten your seatbelts. The judge's reaction is priceless.
Pull up to one of my boys' house. I leave there. I see her vehicle in the neighborhood she's never in to wait. Basically, I watched. I sat and watched who house she was about to come out of. So I pull up behind her once she comes out and get to the car. And I'm like, who house is this? Who house was you just at? She say some girl name. Show me who you talking about. She's like, no. So I say, I'll go get her myself then. So she gets in the car real fast, turn around, skirt off. So I knock on the door. A dude answers the door.
The suspense is killer here. Back in the courtroom for another gripping session, Judge Lauren Lake announces that both parties have completed the DNA testing. Before revealing the earth-shattering results, she allows for final statements, during which Mr. Muriel and Ms. Redmond lay out their emotional and conflicting stakes. The atmosphere is electric as the moment of truth approaches.
In our last court session, I found sufficient evidence to warrant ordering a paternity test, and I have those results here for you today. Before I go to the results,
I just want to say that is a good person. That is why he signed that birth certificate, because he's like, you know.
Everyone in the courtroom is on the edge of their seats. The results are in.
it has been determined by this court, Mr. Muriel, you are the father.